From the Westchester County Center here in White Plains, New York, it's the Class A Boys Basketball Section 1 Championship between the number 1 seed White Plains Tigers, 21-1, against the number 3 seed Mount Vernon Knights, 20-3. Eric Lubitz, Peter Arciello will be joined by Joe Lombardi in a little bit. Here for the Class A Championship. You know, we're here doing all 8 championships, boys and girls. This, by far, is the game.
Yeah, annually, the Class A Championship is the premier game at the County Center. This is no exception. White Plains and Mount Vernon, by far the 2 best teams in the section in Class A. Mount Vernon, the great history, the great tradition, the great state championship teams. White Plains, they've won a state championship already in the 90s. They're a talented team. This is going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, many players, many people say that Mount Vernon's point guard, Timmy Rollerson, hey, he's as quick as Ray and Gus Williams were when he played at Mount Vernon.
Yeah, this kid has got a tremendous amount of speed, a great court general. He's the point man, a 5'10 senior. He's averaging 16 points a game. He is the guy that gets Mount Vernon going. Mount Vernon is a very athletic team, a run-and-gun team. They get up and down the court. That's a great advantage to them here at the County Center because of the big basketball court.
The name Kareem is synonymous with good basketball, great basketball, and White Plains has one of those Kareems. Kareem Washington, one of their triple threats.
Yeah, he is really their catalyst as well on the other side. They run a little bit of a different offense. They're a half-court team. They get into their offense. They run plays, set plays. It's not as made up as it goes along as Mount Vernon. He's a 6'2 senior, Kareem Washington. He is the floor general, 17 points per game he averages. He is the guy that makes their offense tick.
The 2 teams split in the regular season, each winning on their home court. In the sectionals, this is how they got there. Mount Vernon, no trouble with R.C. Ketchum Pete, and then Gordon, and then Mayapaca, which was seeded number 2.
Yeah, Mount Vernon, they are so postseason tested, better than any school in the history of Section 1 has ever been, and they come to play when they come to the postseason.
White Plains, meanwhile, 14 better than Saunders, and then they defeated a real sound Arlington basketball team.
This is going to be the first game for both of these teams that is really going to be a challenge on either side, and that's what could really make it such a great game.
All right, so we will come back, and the tip-off is next. The Class A Championship, Knights and Tigers coming up.
The Statue of Liberty is green, the George Washington Bridge is silver, you know?
My son's gonna be 3 years old, and I told him every time I go over a bridge with him, he says, it's Daddy's bridge. Daddy's bridge.
We're the caretakers.
Rust is the enemy.
It's a never-ending battle. And they keep on painting.
You can't really appreciate the size of the bridge until you walk across. Clear day, you can see as far as your eyes will let you see.
People pay millions of dollars to see that view.
You're doing your thing up there, you know, you can get lost in your own little world. Just you and the wind. That's it.
From Westchester High School.
The young 8th grader from Westchester, quite a voice for an 8th grader.
Discovered by Ray Karowski.
Discovered by Ray Karowski, a friend, former colleague, and gym teacher of ours.
Okay, here comes the starting lineups for today's contest. We'll first of all look at the Mount Vernon Knights. In the backcourt, Rollerson, Benjamin Gordon, the super sophomore. Jenkins will start. Greg Jenkins in place of John Plunny at center. Aaron Brown and Miles the forwards. For White Plains, the 3 veterans that played forever, Kareem Washington, Kyle Jones, and Larry Warren. Jason Bayek's the point guard, Markus Austin the other forward. The officials for today's game, Neil Berniger and Billy Sacco.
Interesting. You know, people don't think about who the referee is until the guy makes a bad call. You're in Class A, you got the two best teams, you're playing for the championship, the two best referees in the section.
And there's Bob Cimino, Mount Vernon's coach, his 5th season with the Knights. And we are underway as we look at Spencer Mayfield, the 6-year White Plains coach. We'll talk more about them during the first break. So we are underway, and right off the bat, White Plains has got it going as Sharif Wilson, a last-minute starter, gets the shot, and it's 2-0.
That's a good start for White Plains. They get off the schneid real quick. They get that first hoop. Always a good thing. It's going to be interesting to see how White Plains can control Mount Vernon's quick guards.
From the baseline, Aaron Brown, pretty lefty shot. He averages 15.
You know, so many times in high school you see, you know, some poor shooting and guys try to overcome it by doing other things. These are two teams that shoot the ball tremendously well.
And Pete, I guess you're trying to see the White Plains player that is not starting. I guess Marcus Austin did not get the start. So he will come off the bench, right?
Yeah, Sharif Wilson is in for Marcus Austin to start the game.
Sharif Wilson is a junior, 6-footer. It is 2-2. We've played almost a minute. Third meeting between White Plains and Mount Vernon for the Class A championship. There is Benjamin Gordon, super sophomore's first touch. And he'll get his own board. Very athletic.
Yeah, great hands, great speed. It's really impressive what he does. You know, Spencer Mayfield, we said that Sharif Wilson starts in place of Marcus Austin. Spencer Mayfield may say to himself, let's go with a smaller lineup with a little bit more quickness because there's great quickness that Mount Vernon has.
Washington blocked, and we'll have a foul as Kareem Washington took it right at Mount Vernon. Washington, a 6'2" senior guard. Go to the line.
Mount Vernon runs that quick offense, and what happens here, they don't get back on defense. And you see the good play inside by Washington, takes it up to the hole hard, and he gets the foul.
Greg Jenkins picked up the foul. It's our first foul of the basketball game. We're a minute 14 in, and Washington hits it. And Pete, you can see with these teams, they don't make too many mistakes.
No, they don't, and that's why they're both playing in the sectional final.
All aspects of their game very good. 1 out of 2 for Washington. Offensive board, and Warren is fouled. So White Plains hitting the boards early.
Yeah, and that's 2 on Jenkins in a hurry, the big 6'6" junior. So it looks like Bob Cimino is going to make a substitution right away and get John Plenty, who we had penciled in as the starter, get him in the middle and sit down Jenkins.
Yeah, there, White Plains doing a good job getting the board, and sometimes before you even get a sweat, you pick up a couple fouls, and that's got to really mess with Jenkins' head.
Yeah, it messes with the individual kid's head, but for Bob Cimino, he's got a full bench. He uses everybody. You'll see a lot of guys in the game. It'll be tough for even us to keep track of them. They are a very, very deep team, and they have the luxury, if they get 2 fouls in the first minute and a half, they can make a change like that.
1 out of 2 for Warren. Tigers have themselves a 2-point lead. 4-2. Rollerson, the pull-up short. The follow, no. And look at the pressure by the Knights.
They are just so quick on both ends, offense and defense.
Washington slashing, no. Bad shot. And both teams love to run it. White Plains in the man-to-man, Peter. Gordon, that wasn't his intended receiver there, but
you can just tell the poise that Gordon has, though. This kid plays well above the level of a sophomore.
Jason Bayek, the first-year sophomore point guard. Nice feed, the fade, no, but another Mount Vernon foul. That'll be their 3rd team foul in just over 2 minutes.
And Mount Vernon has got to get the mentality that you know, 40 minutes of madness type defense that they run, where they just run around the court and they press a lot and push a lot, can be detrimental at times. They've left some guys open. Those guys have gotten the ball in the low box, and they've gotten fouled, and they've gone to the line. So Mount Vernon's got to be a little bit more careful on the defensive end.
Wilson's a 6-foot junior, had 10 points against Saunders in the earlier sectional game. So they have a junior, a sophomore point guard, and then the 3 experienced seniors. 1 out of 2 for Wilson. He's got 3, and that is the lead, the biggest lead for White Plains.
And Mount Vernon hasn't been allowed yet to run the ball up the court. Everything has come out of half-court offense, and that's not really their game.
Gordon 3 doesn't fall, and nice job by the Tigers limiting the Knights to 1 shot again.
Yeah, good job on the boards by White Plains.
Baseline. Kareem Washington, their leading scorer. Nice move. And the Tigers are off early, 7-2 here. Gordon draws a foul. And a real quick move. Boy, the lofty things that are being said about Benjamin Gordon. How he has, for his level as a sophomore, ahead of almost anyone who's played at Mount Vernon, which for us is hard to believe with all the great names.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very tough to compare a kid who's a sophomore to some of the great players that have come out of Mount Vernon.
Timmy Rollerson hits a 3. Mr. Dependable there, 5'7", 5'10" senior point guard. Also can shoot. Washington the follow, and he'll go to the free throw line, and that'll be the 4th team foul on Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon not doing a good job of boxing out, not putting a body on a body, not getting that hip to hip and keeping guys out of the box. They're getting a little bit sloppy on the defensive end, and it's cost them so far. Not cost them as much in points, but it's cost them in fouls. They're giving up 4 team fouls already. We're a little bit more than 3 minutes into the game. And that's another good look there of how they just have not boxed out and kept their man out of the low post.
Marcus Austin will replace Sharif Wilson for White Plains. Austin, first-year player, sophomore, 6'4". And believe it or not, White Plains has taken 8 free throws already. They've hit 3. Washington breaks it up. And there was travel by Kyle Jones. He took a few extra steps. What a story Jones is. Had a car accident in January, only came back during the sectionals, but one of their star players, possibly, some people think the best player in the section, Kyle Jones.
Yeah, that might be a little bit lofty, but he's certainly got a lot of talent, and he fits in on a team that's got a lot of talent, and that's why they're the #1 seed.
Approaching the 4-minute mark in the first quarter. 7-5. Rollerson in trouble. Gives it off, and an easy lay-in for John Plenty, junior center.
Mount Vernon's trying to be patient on the offensive end, but it's difficult to be patient when you can't run your game, and their game is that up and down the court running style, and they haven't been able to get into that yet.
Jones gives it up to Larry Warren. And if it just looks like these guys know what they're doing, well, Warren, Jones, and Kareem Washington have all played together since the 3rd grade.
And you really see that. It really comes through. They know where one another are in the court, and they really take advantage of that experience.
Tigers back up a deuce. Good help inside. Poor shot for Aaron Brown.
Yeah, very tough shot. He tried to go lefty.
Nice dish, Washington. Layup, Warren. Once again, 2 of the 3 that know each other so well.
Mount Vernon again, I'm trying to illustrate a point. I'm not trying to, belabor it, but they just are not getting back on defense. And that's cost them. It's cost them at least 8 points.
NBA 3 for Rollerson. His second 3 for Tim Rollerson, who's a lightning quick player. He's a very smart player. He's a good passer, good defender, and as we see, a good 3-point shooter.
Type of guy that if you combine him with Benjamin Gordon, if you allow them to get off on their game and then they can establish that running game, they can be a very, very difficult team. Mount Vernon in a straight man defense.
The Knights have gone to their bench again for Kevin Mitchell, number 24, junior. They'll play a lot of players. Jones can't connect. Here comes Mitchell. Rollerson for his third three. And he is fired up, Tim Rollerson.
And Spencer Mayfield's fired up too because he thought there was a carry there.
I thought so too.
By Kevin Mitchell, and it turns out that it didn't get called. You know, it was kind of a little bit of a bang-bang. I don't know if it was definitely a carry, but it allowed Mount Vernon to keep that break going, and when they get rolling on that break, man, they could be trouble.
Mount Vernon has their first lead, and Benjamin Gordon has his first foul. That is team foul number 5, and we'll see Rollerson's third try.
Now, we miss Mitchell bringing it up court, but they kick it out good. Rollerson takes a peek over the shoulder to see where Jones is, and then buries the three, his third of the game.
White Plains trailing for the first time today. Jones gives it up. White Plains has gone to their bench as well. So Jeff Washington, number 4, is in the game. And another foul on the Knights. That is number 6. We're still in the first quarter. John Plenty's got 1. The other center, Greg Jenkins, has 2. And Jeff Washington is in the game, and Larry Warren will shoot fouls.
It's interesting, Eric. What we're seeing with Mount Vernon is they play a very, very tight man defense, but the problem is they do not call out screens, and they're getting picked off of players, and it's leaving guys wide open, and White Plains is really controlling the inside blocks. That is a big problem. Bob Cimino has got to address that, because if you allow White Plains to control out of that half-court offense, it takes time off the clock, and it gives them a lot of confidence and a lot of points, because you're talking about high percentage shots they're coming up with. White Plains has not taken an outside shot, has not even tried a 3 yet.
White Plains is 3 for 9 from the free throw line in the first quarter. Larry Warren's got 5 points. What a game he had in the win over Mount Vernon. 18 points, 14 rebounds. So Warren played big in a big spot, and he's doing it already with 6 in the first quarter.
They may be 4 for 10 from the foul line, Eric, but from the field, they have got to be shooting about 80%. Everything is a layup so far.
They've hit 4 from the field. Rollerson unselfish. Brown. Gordon rebound.
Boy, he is so athletic for a sophomore. Good move by Mitchell.
Doesn't fall. And it will go to Mount Vernon, go back to White Plains. So, yeah, Benjamin Gordon got the nice rebound there, but they couldn't convert.
Tell you, impressive how Mount Vernon and White Plains, for that matter, how they spread the ball around. Both teams, everybody gets a touch.
And Jeff Washington was fouled by Rollerson, and that's going to mean foul shots. And Pete, with 1:30 to go in the first quarter, it's unbelievable that they're in the 1-1 already.
Yeah, it is, but you know, it's not unbelievable in the sense that that is the type of defense that Mount Vernon plays. They're very tight, they're on you man to man, and you know, it promotes a lot of fouls.
That is number 2, more importantly, on Tim Rollerson. 2 fouls the first quarter. He's to the bench now. Jason Bailey, backup junior point guard, has entered the fray, and Jeff Washington can't convert from the free throw line, but another offensive board. Oh, taken away. Here's Bailey to the game, 2 seconds. And there's Aaron Brown, approaching a minute, as you see on your screen. That's the score.
That's the man that the ball needs to be in his hand.
NBA 3 for Benjamin Gordon.
And he's got a little something to say to Kareem Washington. He gave a little earful there. He said, you got to come out and challenge me. You want to play that game with me.
Not looking like a sophomore.
No, and the thing is about him, when Gordon does that, when Gordon buries those NBA threes, then you got to come out and play him, and he's got such a quick first step that he could be a real problem for you on the defensive end.
It feels like a broken record, but another foul for Mount Vernon. That's Mitchell's second.
Now watch this, Eric. Bailey gives it over to Gordon, and Kareem Washington gives him a step. He says, I'm going to give you a step because you've gotten by me 3 times already. And he just posts it up, sets it up, squares it, and buries it.
That was further than Rollerson's NBA 3. Washington hits the first. He's got 4 points. Make it 5 points. White Plains getting it done from the line. It's 16-14. Thanks to 4 3-pointers for Mount Vernon. They lead it by 2. We're in the final minute of the first quarter.
And that's a scary proposition because Mount Vernon is a running team, an athletic team. You let them start burying threes, you could be in a lot of trouble.
Gordon, and a foul. And now you can see with Rollerson out, Benjamin Gordon's taken over.
Well, he knows that he's got to step up, Eric, but like I just mentioned 30 seconds ago, if you give him that shot, that three-point shot, and he buries it, then you've got to come out and play him. And when you come out and play him, he's got an incredible, maybe the best first step in all of this section. Between he and Rollerson, they got to be 1 and 2 in the section coming off the dribble on that first step. And this kid gets that first step, gets in the lane, creates a shot, it goes down for him, and he gets fouled. You know, we get a good look at here. Look at that first step. Washington can't do anything. Washington, one of the best players in the section, can't do a thing on that first step, and he gets the acrobatic shot to go down, and now he's got the foul shot.
Marcus Austin called for the foul. The shot no good, but the athleticism of Mount Vernon gives him 3 cracks at it.
This is what you don't want to see.
And the bucket is good. It'll go to John Plenty. And the pressure defense of the Knights paying off. And suddenly they have themselves a 6-point lead.
And that's 2 on Gordon now, which really could be a key. You got Rollerson and Gordon, each have 2 fouls, and that's very important. But I'll tell you something, White Plains has got to concentrate. They've got to get their big man, whoever's going to be in the center, has got to get right to the middle of the court at center court and break that press. Because if you don't break that press, you could be in for a world of hurt with Mount Vernon.
Rollerson's got 2, Gordon's got 2, Jenkins, who started at center's got 2, and Mitchell's got 2, and we're still in the first quarter. And you got to wonder if this is going to catch up to them. As White Plains has taken 14 free throws in the first quarter. And Pete, you multiply that by 4, and that's 56 free throws. Tough to imagine not winning the game if you could take 56 free throws.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you've got to bury them. You've got to do a good job making the free throws. But you know, Mount Vernon obviously does not want to send White Plains to the line that many times. They've got to look at what they're doing. They've got to be a little bit less aggressive on defense because they're in the foul trouble now. But you don't want to take away the personality of this team either.
4 seconds. That's the time in the quarter. Gordon gets it off. Little strong, but what a quarter it was. Led by the 3-point shooting heroics of Rollerson and Gordon. It's 2014 Knights. We're back.
My name is George Kalinsky. I've been the garden photographer for just a little over 30 years. People walk into this basketball and say, this is where Marilyn Monroe sang to the press. This is where we saw the circus when we were kids. Whatever the event is, political convention, there has to be one important moment. My job is to capture that Reverend Moon married 7,000 people here. No arena in the world has the uniqueness and the variety that Madison Square Garden has.
You know, his friends say, wow, you know, if you work for the New York Yankees, that's great. It's like, it's no big deal. It's just a job.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Please direct your attention to the area behind the home plate and join the Yankees.
George Steinbrenner has to love this.
There's the score after 1 quarter. Eric Lubitz, Peter Arciello, Joe Lombardi, Metro Sports crew. Peter, shooting through the first quarter from the field, Mount Vernon 8 out of 18, White Plains 4 out of 11.
Yeah, 4 out of 11, but the thing for White Plains is they got off to the great start. They were 4 or 6. They missed their final 5 shots of the first quarter.
The next foul for Mount Vernon will put it in the automatic 2-shot bonus the rest of the half, and we have a whole quarter to play. Second quarter, Jason Bailey with it, starting at point, and Gordon loses it for his deflected out of bounds. So Gordon, Pete, is playing with the 2 fouls. Rollerson is not.
Well, you know, Bob Semino's just going to probably dial it down a little bit on defense, pull it back a little bit.
Gordon can't connect there. Oh, out of bounds. Good try, though, by Aaron Brown. Mount Vernon doing a good job getting the boards. They have a lot of height.
Yeah, these are 2 teams that are very balanced. They're not, you know, unbalanced in any way with a lot of height or just great guards. They both have the complement on both sides.
Second quarter, White Plains starts with Jeff Washington at the point. Inside, and that is Larry Warren. Very strong power player, and he's had his way. He's got a team high 8.
Yeah, bad play by John Plenty. Tries to front him too late, and he gets the ball. Warren gets the ball in the block and just takes a half step by him.
Bailey unselfish to Plenty. It'll stay Mount Vernon. Nice pass by Jason Bailey. Hey, it's nice to have a backup point who's so capable.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, these teams have shown great differential on the defensive side. Mount Vernon has not really done the good job defensively. White Plains is a great help defense team.
Offensive board Brown, and he's fouled. And in the beginning of the game, White Plains did a good job in defensive board. More recently, Mount Vernon getting a lot of offensive bounds.
You see Aaron Brown here. Gets good position, Eric. See how there's nobody inside him? That's what you want to do when you're trying to rebound the ball. Tips it to himself. Not quite fully developed. He is a senior, but he doesn't have a big upper body, so he can't get that big power move like they do on, like Larry Warren does on the White Plains side. So he takes it up, and the ball gets knocked away. But he gets to the line, and he's going to get the 2.
Brown's the third leading scorer in the team, averaging 15, had 18 against Gordon, 16 against Mayapack in the sectionals, has 2 points here. And Tim Rollerson has re-entered with 2 points. What a first quarter he had for the Knights. Washington trying to go through 3 players. Bailey misses.
Great rebound by Brown.
Yeah. And what a job that was. That was Eric Miles.
I'm sorry. It wasn't Aaron Brown. It was Eric Miles.
And a nice rebound and a pretty lefty move. First time at it again.
Interesting to see what Semino did there. He sent 4 guys on the press, and the only guy back was Rollerson, the guy with the 2 fouls. So he kept him back. He protected Rollerson from getting into foul trouble, but he continued to press. That is the luxury of a very, very deep team.
As we look at the Mount Vernon team, what a storied tradition. They've had 5 section titles in the past 9 seasons. 91, the undefeated state champion, federation champion, 29-0 year. They last won the sectional title in 95.
Eric, here's a good look. I'm going to show you again. You don't see Rollerson anywhere there. Now, normally he'd be there pressuring the ball, but he's staying back, protecting on the foul, and you get a good inside position by Miles. Turns it around, and he gets the deuce. Now, talking about the history and the tradition of Mount Vernon, halftime, we've got a really, really special treat. Barry Stanton from the Journal News wrote a big story last week, a very controversial story on the top 25 players of all time in Section 1 and the top 5 coaches. There's been a lot of talk, who's been left off, who didn't deserve to be first, second, third team, whatever. We are going to sit down and I am going to grill him. I've got names for him that weren't on that list that I think should have been on that list, and guys that I think were on that list that got too much respect, and we're going to talk to him about it a little bit. But I tell you, a lot of the tradition starts with Mount Vernon.
Bayak way off. Rare shot for the point guard. It'll go back to Mount Vernon. They lead by 6. That's as much as they've led. White Plains has led by 5 early.
Now White Plains is going to give you a little 75% press here, a little 3-quarter.
Yeah, they'll leave Larry Warren back.
Try to pressure the ball a little bit. Don't give Mount Vernon the opportunity to get out and run that offense.
Knights, as you might imagine, no trouble with the press.
Yeah, and you notice how they keep the ball on the ground very little.
A 3-pointer, no good for Brown.
Boy, Larry Warren just gave a great box out.
Oh, we got a foul on Mount Vernon. Neil Berniger right there calling it, as he's going to talk to Larry Warren going down the court now.
Well, the initial foul was on John Plenty. Plenty did not get the position. Watch Warren just box him out, just manhandle him. And then he gives him the quick foul on the arm that they call, and Warren gives him a little body back. That's part of the game. I mean, you don't want Neil Berniger and Billy Sacco to have the whistle in their mouth the whole game blowing it. You want to see these two guys these two teams get a chance to play, and that's what these guys are doing.
With 6:11 to go, White Plains is going to be shooting 2 for the rest of the half. Warren's on the line. They say it's the first foul on Plenty, so Mount Vernon with 10 fouls to give with the 2 centers, Jenkins and Plenty. And Warren's going to have to face them both. 9 points for Warren. And there, a blocking foul.
It's a good call. That's a good block.
Yeah, it'll go against Brett Leach, who's just entered for White Plains.
But that's not how Bob Cimino likes to break the press. He doesn't want one guy keeping the ball on the ground. He likes to keep the ball in the air, very little bit on the ground, and get some help. Jason Bailey decided to take it on his own there, and luckily he got away with causing the foul. It's great how you see the jockey for position, Eric.
Lamont Harris has entered for Mount Vernon, another player who's getting his first action of the day. He inbounded.
We said it. Mount Vernon use a lot of players.
And they already have. Brown. No.
That's twice that he had it down and it came out.
Who's got the quickest hands? That time it was Lamont Harris of Mount Vernon.
Short.
Air ball for Rollerson.
Look at those hands, Eric. Look at those hands by Rollerson.
Yeah.
Unbelievably quick.
Yeah. Not that Section 1 keeps track of steals for every player throughout the season, but he's got to be right up there.
Oh, I've got to believe he is.
Good pressure by the Knights. Another turnover. They've forced a lot of turnovers here in the second quarter.
And Neil Bernicker, the referee, allowing him to bang a little bit.
And the ball deflected. Aaron Brown hasn't been so successful so far.
No, he hasn't. But his problem is that he's trying to make moves. He's a lefty shot, and he's trying to make moves that he really doesn't have going away from the basket. He's got to get on that block and try to, position himself offensively and work out of, we talked about how Mount Vernon's not really half-court offense. They're a run-and-shoot type offense. And Aaron Brown, he's more of a kid that's going to work better for you working off the block. He doesn't have the upper body to mess with Warren, though.
Now Vernon is just 1 for 8 in the second quarter from the field. White Plains just 1 for 2. Mount Vernon's had the opportunities here.
I really attribute a lot of it to good defense. There has been some really, really strong defense played so far on both ends.
Yep. People think about these teams, say, they're just run and gun type teams. Great defense. Rollerson, tough shot. Might have forced that one.
Yeah, he was kind of backed into a little corner there and didn't get much help.
Jones, block shot.
Jason Bailey, great block on Jones.
Yeah, it's a guard blocking a forward. And now, he's scoring a layup. Nice move by Bailey.
So
First basket.
You make a block like that, it gives you a heck of a lot of confidence on the offensive end.
And there's another block shot, even better for Mount Vernon. It goes off Washington. And who got that one for Mount Vernon? It was Ian Taylor who's entered the game. So we're going to add up how many players they've played here in a few moments. And they've all contributed. They've played 11 so far.
And that's part of the history of Mount Vernon. It's not a one-man show, it's everybody.
Taylor can't connect. Jones, another nice
Rollerson,
play.
Rollerson, great help defense. But still, Mount Vernon is not getting back on defense, and they're putting themselves in a situation where they got to make great plays. You watch Jones beats Bailey off the dribble, and he's got it. Rollerson comes in and taps it away. That's a great play by Rollerson.
What a job Bob Cimino does shuffling in the 11, 12 players. You might think that would take away, but it doesn't.
Well, I tell you, it doesn't hurt. They're going to catch Warren on a foul there on Gordon. It doesn't hurt to have 11 or 13 guys who can play, who can contribute, at any time, at any point in the game.
And they're going to be talking to Barry about at halftime about some of the Mount Vernon players. I wonder what some of the second teams would do for Mount Vernon. The 6 to 10 players, how they would do as a team playing other teams throughout the section.
Oh, yeah. I think that there are probably plenty of kids that have come out of Mount Vernon that are,
and White Plains
that's 3 on Gordon.
Yeah, that was a bit, he just entered the game, and he picks up his 3rd foul, and that's got to kill Bob Cimino. And even worse, Gordon's very slow getting up, Pete.
Yeah, I think he took one in the nose there. What happens is he loses the ball, and after he loses the ball, when White Plains, we're going to get a good look at it here. See, he's getting the pressure from Sharif Wilson, and he loses the ball, and then he gives a little push on Wilson as he's trying to go for the ball. Neil Berniker called him for the foul, and that's 3.
And Gordon, I think just now, Pete, realized that the foul was called on him, and he cannot believe it. So he's on the bench with 3 fouls, probably for the rest of the half. And he didn't play much in the second quarter, it is, so without possibly their best player, that's got to hurt the Knights. Of course, they're deep as anything. And Wilson going to the line for 2 shots.
White Plains has not capitalized on the free throws thus far.
No, they've killed themselves. They've taken 16, and they've hit just 6. One out of 2 for Wilson. He's got 4. And another foul. And this will put White Plains over the limit. Jason Bayak's first.
And I'll tell you, Jason Bailey's done a nice job for Mount Vernon, coming off the bench, spelling Rollerson, now spelling Gordon. And he's done a good job of bringing the ball up, breaking that little bit of pressure that White Plains gives him. He's been a huge asset so far.
There's 3:59 to go in the second quarter. 24-18 Knights. They led by 6 at the quarter. And Bailey to the line, has 2 points, make it 3. He's the backup point guard, junior, 5'11". So next year, even without Rollerson, you got to figure Bailey-Gordon backcourt's going to be pretty formidable.
Yeah, I would think it would be.
And he hits them both. Of course, it doesn't hurt the 2 centers. Jenkins and Plenty also will be back.
Yeah, don't be surprised if we're doing this same situation next year with Mount Vernon.
Washington, pretty move in the lane. What an offensive, explosive scorer he is. He's got 7. He said before the game he's been waiting for this a long time. His senior season here at championship. And somehow he knew it would be Mount Vernon. Rollerson, good play by Bayak. Nice play. Steal back for the Knights. 3 shots at the hoop, and once again Warren gets it. Flailing elbows, and here comes White Plains. Washington spins and draws a foul. He's so good in the open court.
Oh, he's tremendous. He is such a great slasher. He's one of those real quintessential scorers, a guy that he can score from anywhere on the court. He's got a good outside game. Watch this slash, watch this little drop step. Boom, and he gets a little spin in there. And they call that, I believe it was Lamont Harris on the foul. They say that he got him on the arm, and Washington's going to get 2.
Washington back to the line. He has 7. Warren has 9. So now at that free throw, they've combined for 17 of the 20 White Plains points.
Get a good look at Ben Gordon there. A little bit dejected. Looks like he might have caught a little knee or something from one of his own teammates actually on that scramble for the ball.
1 out of 2.
There's a foul on Warren.
Oh yeah, it's 2 on Larry Warren. And unlike Mount Vernon, White Plains doesn't go that deep. Well, nobody does.
Yeah, exactly. But you see, that is a big difference in having 2 fouls on a Larry Warren or having 2 fouls on a Ben Gordon. Because Ben Gordon, Mount Vernon is so deep that they can continue to shuffle people in. White Plains doesn't have that luxury. So if Warren picks up his 3rd in the first half, that's got to be a big problem for them.
Mount Vernon 2 for 11 from the floor, second quarter. White Plains 2 for 5. To the line goes John Plenty. No good. Furious battle. Is that Brown? Yes, and he scores. Aaron Brown.
And they might have been able to call the foul on Warren, too, there.
And White Plains will call their second timeout of the game. This will be a 20.
And Spencer Mayfield's not happy about that rebounding on the foul shot.
Wow. 28-21. The Knights, this is their biggest lead of the game, 7. Hey, let's talk about White Plains a little bit. The #1 seed, 21-1. We look at Spencer Mayfield, 6th season.
Running basic, running shallow, and then looking for that.
In 1994, he led the team to a sectional and state championship. And both these teams. Mount Vernon in 91 won the state title. White Plains in 94 won the state title. Section 1, and there's apparently a lot of people believe that the winner of this game is going to go all the way this year and win the sectional title.
It could
state title.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well happen. Section 1's been lucky to have a lot of success in baseball, football, and basketball in teams that come out of this section to go on to the state championship. These two teams have the ability to do it and have the talent to do it.
Washington kind of forced that one. And the Knights, now with Rollerson in control, have a chance to take their biggest lead. And a travel in the lane. That was number 10 for Mount Vernon, which is not on our roster.
Who's number 10, Mount Vernon?
Well, I guess that was Rollerson.
No, I think that might be John Boykin, actually.
Here comes Rollerson. An NBA 3 air ball for Bailey, but the follow, no. A lot of bodies on the floor in this one. 4-on-3. Washington, open court. Chalk it up.
Very, very close to being an offensive foul.
And we have another player who came down hard on his shoulder. I think Jason Bailey. What athleticism.
Both teams, I mean, tremendous, tremendous. I think we might have made a mistake in saying that John Boykin was wearing number 10. That was actually Timmy Rollerson.
Yeah.
And we just got caught up with the jersey being crumpled a little bit.
Right.
That's pretty close to being an offensive foul. I'll tell you, on the other hand, Mount Vernon's lucky that he didn't call Rollerson on the block there.
Kareem Washington, very impressive.
Oh, yeah, you could tell. He is a natural scorer. He slashes, finds himself good shots, open shots.
What a half. This is a pleasure.
Oh, we've seen great basketball so far. So that bad pass.
2-on-0. Warren, Washington. What a
play by Rollerson. What a play by Rollerson. Washington had him beat by 2 steps, and he made up the ground in no time flat and got the good play.
And remember, he's doing this with 2 fouls.
Exactly. Mount Vernon's playing with fire in that situation. Watch Rollerson. Boom. Washington might have taken it a little bit slow, try to set up a little bit of razzle-dazzle there. And Rollerson got back and made a great play.
What quickness. Washington will be fouled. Minute 33 in the half, and Mount Vernon is piling up the foul trouble. Their star, Benjamin Gordon, on the bench with 3.
But it's amazing what they parade in there. They got Jomo Belfort just got called on the foul. 9th grader, 6 foot, plays in the backcourt. This is his first action of the game. It's amazing. They have played literally, I think, 12 guys so far.
We're going to add it up in a second.
Actually, 13 guys have gotten in the game from Mount Vernon.
Yep. Washington continues to struggle from the line, as do the Knights.
I think, Bob Semino, excuse me, Eric, Bob Semino's biggest challenge is trying to find the right guys to put in when you've got 13. You can only play 5 at a time.
10 for 21 for the White Plains Tigers from the line.
That's just not adequate. That's just not adequate in the Section 1 championship.
Kareem has 11. Him and Warren have combined for 20 of the 24. It's a 4-point game. Bad pass again.
Yeah, Bailey gets a little bit tense when he's got 2 men on him, when he gets a little bit of pressure.
White Plains can cut into the lead further. Warren is blocked. Follow and blocked out of bounds as Billy Sacco right there. Billy Sacco, Neil Burning, and the officials are letting them play. I mean, there's a million foul calls, but they're really letting a lot else go.
Yeah, well, they're letting them play, but, I mean, you want to let them play. You don't want to just be parading to the foul line the whole game.
Inside, blocked
Great
from
block.
behind. Bayak follows, and it counts.
And Bob Semino is imploring his guys on the defensive boards to grab the ball. Mount Vernon's very athletic. They're good leapers, but all they're doing, you'll see, Eric, they just tap the ball away. Watch this. You get a good block here, and then the ball comes, and you see how nobody's grabbing the ball? It's like they're all waiting for somebody else to do it. And Bayak gets the good chance for a 3 here, which is going to cut it to a 1-point lead with a minute to go.
Bayak's first basket, sophomore point guard, playing pretty well. Has 3, and suddenly it's a 1-point game. The Knights just led by 7. It's a 6-0 run. And here in the final minute, Brown banks it in.
Wow.
Nice shot, Aaron Brown.
He has got a tremendous offensive game. Oh.
Here's the pressure. 40 seconds in the half. 3-point game. Warren, the spin, the shot, the foul. He draws another foul. I think they got plenty.
Yeah, I think they did get plenty, and that may be his 3rd.
No, it's 2.
You see the great pressure here, but Mount Vernon, what they have to do is their second line of defense has not been good tonight. They've done a good job at getting the good pressure from midcourt to the foul line, and then when they get in here, they allow too many people to do too many things down low.
Warren misses again.
And Semino's going to bring Rollerson in for the final 36 seconds. Spencer Mayfield brings in Jeff Washington. A fresh body, a senior, 5'9". He's going to play in the backcourt.
0 out of 2 for Warren. Washington, though, the rebound, and it'll stay White Plains ball. Now, Pete, should they take the last shot here? Shot clock is turned off.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How about if they get a layup on the out-of-bounds play?
Well, if you get a layup on the out-of-bounds play, that's like asking me if you get a dunk, do I pass it up and bring it out?
I don't know if they realize the shot clock is off. They don't. I don't know if they realize it still. 24 seconds. Washington loses the ball. There's a mistake.
Watch Rollerson in the open court.
Oh. 11 for Rollerson.
You can't run with him. You just cannot run with him.
That should have been White Plains. Is now a foul by Bailey.
That's bad.
And that'll give 2 shots.
That's bad because you're giving him 2 shots with 6 seconds left. That's not a good play by Bailey. Not a good play by Bailey. Watch Rollerson. Just changes gears a little bit. You just can't stay with him. I mean, you cannot defend him because you can't go backwards as fast as he's going forwards.
You know, people think Mount Vernon, well, they're always here. They always win. Well, hey, they haven't won a section since '95. So 3 years have gone by. They haven't. So these kids haven't won a section.
The funny thing that you're saying is that why I'm laughing is you say, oh, they haven't won it in 3 years.
Well, no, but I mean is the kids that are playing today haven't won.
I understand that, but in the context of Mount Vernon basketball, not having won the section in 3 years is a big deal.
Before the buzzer, no, Rollerson, and that is it. A very exciting half, 32-28. A 4-point lead at the half. Joe Lombardi, Pete, is trying to grab Spencer Mayfield for a quick word. Let's head over to Joe now. Joe.
All right, so thoughts on the first half. We got a lot of high percentage shots. Well, we're not making foul shots, and we're not playing physical enough to match their intensity. If we make some foul shots, some of these plays that are developing wouldn't even happen.
All right, what adjustments are you going to make for the second half?
First of all, we got to be more physical and strong with the ball if they're not going to make those kind of calls. So that's what we're going to have to do.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. And that's the story for now. Back to you, Eric.
All right, Joe. And Pete, it's 32-28. We're going to come back, and we'll have our halftime. Barry Stanton will join us in a moment.
name is George Kalinsky. I've been the garden photographer for just a little over 30 years. People walk into this basketball and say, this is where Marilyn Monroe sang to the president. This is where we saw the circus when we were kids. Whatever the event is, political convention, there has to be one important moment. My job is to capture that Reverend Moon married 7,000 people here. No arena in the world has the uniqueness and the variety that Madison Square Garden has.
We are at halftime here at the Westchester County Center of the Class A Championship. 32-28, a 4-point lead at the half for Mount Vernon. Eric Lubitz along with Peter Arciello, and Peter has a special guest interview. Barry Stanton from the Journal News, their fine columnist, is with Peter, so let's head there now. Pete.
Thank you, Eric. As you said, our special guest at halftime, Barry Stanton from the Journal News, the great columnist from the Journal News, and I could say that because I used to work with you and I know how good you actually are. But we're not going to talk about you. We're going to talk about something you wrote last Sunday, which was the All-Century Section 1 basketball team. Let's cut right to the chase. A lot of buzz about this week. A lot of people felt that people were left off the list. They felt people deserved to be higher, lower, and you picked 5 teams of 5, and then you picked an honorable mention team, as well as 5 coaches and then some other coaches that you had honorable mention or whatever. Let's talk about the guys that I think were left off first. You give me your reasoning why. Jay Sirocco from Harrison averaged in the high 30s.
Oh, nothing but a gunner. I can say that because Jay's a friend of mine.
Nothing but a gunner. Okay.
Nothing but a gunner.
All right, he was left off the list. On the coach's side, Jack Kamner from Scarsdale won 3 section titles at Scarsdale. Had the great Ravelli Graves team. Not on the list at all. Why?
Everybody makes mistakes. You know, I got to say, we said right up front that this is really an impossible task. I mean, how can you pick a team of the century? First of all, I've been watching high school basketball here at the county center in the sectional championships since about 1969. That's 30 years. That leaves 7 years I didn't see. So, I mean, it's really an impossible task, but it was just too much fun not to do it. So we had a great time with it. I checked with a lot of people. I went around. I sampled opinions. I tried to get people from all eras. You know, we had a great time doing it. People got left off. You know, some got overlooked. Some just, you know, slipped your mind, and I think the great thing we're going to do is a week from tomorrow in the Journal News, we're going to print the voice of the people. A lot of people have been writing in letters. Every day I'm at these games, somebody comes up with a nice loose leaf paper, hand scrolled with about 30 names. What about this guy? What about that guy? I feel really good about the way the teams came out because nobody is really arguing with the top team of the century that we picked, the 25-man team broken into 1st through 5th teams. People are always coming up and telling me that, well, here's a guy for honorable mention that you missed. Even, you know, you brought up Jay Sirocco, and he'll probably be on our, you know, next to be mentioned list. Right. And he was a great player in high school at Harrison, but I don't really think he would have been on the team of the century, but he certainly deserved an honorable mention status. There's lots and lots of players like that. The other thing I feel good about is nobody's come up and been nasty about it. Everybody appreciated a great job we did, and you know, and all the memories that brought back for so many people of the great basketball games we've had here.
Yeah, and I saw Mike Del Val came up to you, the great coach who was, you know, in your top 5 coaches. You know, he had that storied career in Section 1. He came up. He thanked you for putting on the list, but he also gave you a list of guys that he felt weren't on that list. Real quickly, and let me just clarify one thing. The story is going to come out March 14th, Sunday, March 14th. Right. Some people are not going to see this on the day of the game. Just give me off the top of your head some guys that you feel may have been overlooked the first time around, and we'll see in that follow-up story on the 14th.
You know, there's a slew of players from Yonkers, Morris Crute from Yonkers High School, Bobby Johnson from Gordon. There's a bunch of kids from Hamilton, Earl Hogan's, who led his team to a state championship, Darrell Evans, a couple of the Bass brothers.
He's now coaching at Hamilton.
Coaches the girls team, had an undefeated regular season until Haldane took care of them in the sectionals here, which is no crime. They always take care of everybody here. Of course, we did girls team of the century. We only listed 5 girls because the history doesn't go back as far. But even then, I left off a girl from Hackley. You know, people have been writing and mentioning that. There's lots and lots of players. The other thing I felt good about that was nearly unanimous, we picked a team of the century, the all-time greatest team, and not one person I talked to in the 2 weeks I was researching the story or even sitting here at the county center this week has had anything to say except the 1971 Mount Vernon team was the best of all time.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about these 2 teams, Mount Vernon and White Plains. White Plains not as laden in the history as Mount Vernon, but quite a few guys on your list off of that Mount Vernon, off of the Mount Vernon teams over the years. Give me just a little bit of history, a little bit of what you learned over, you know, the course of researching this project about some of these guys in Mount Vernon. Let's name a couple of them.
Well, I mean, there's no question that, especially for the last 30 years, since A.B. Davis and Edison Tech merged and formed one high school, you know, they've been the dominant power in Westchester High School basketball. I could have actually have done a team of the top 20 players of all time, all from Mount Vernon. That's how tremendous they've been. Our first team had 3 Mount Vernon players on it. Gus Williams, who went on to a career in the NBA and won a championship with the Seattle Sonics. Earl Tatum, who played at Marquette and then had an NBA career, most notably with the with the Pacers and the Boston Celtics. And Scooter McRae was a fantastic high school player. I mean, here's a guy, Rodney McRae, was the 3rd pick of the NBA draft, won an NCAA championship at Louisville, was on an Olympic team, won an NBA title with the Chicago Bulls, made it to the finals again with the Rockets, and I had him on our 2nd team.
Right, but if you look at it, comparing him to his brother Scooter was a better high school player than Rodney was a high school player.
Right.
When they got to Louisville, things changed. When, you know, they got into the pros, things changed. But in high school, Scooter was the better player.
That's it, right.
Last question I'm going to ask you, talking about this game, talking about this team, there's been a lot of buzz today and this week about this kid, Ben Gordon, the guard, the great guard, only a sophomore out of Mount Vernon. A couple people have said, including some people very close to Mount Vernon, that he could end up when he graduates being the best player ever to come out of Mount Vernon.
You know, I've heard that, and I hope for his sake that it's true, because to be the best player out of Mount Vernon High School means he's going to be just a sensational basketball player. He has some flashes. He's only a sophomore, but I would never want to hang that on a kid. You know, comparing him to Gus Williams, Ray Williams, Earl Tatum, some of the great players. I mean, Rasul Salahuddin led his team to a 29-0 record in 1991. He was a fantastic guard. Dean Marshman, Brian Pritchett, they have just great players. Let's wait to give this kid some due. Let him have his career. Let's wait till after he's a senior. We'll figure out just how good he is.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that the bar might be set a little bit too high with the great Mount Vernon history to try to put that tag on him right now. Barry, thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing the story on March 14th, and I'm still going to come up with some more names for you.
Okay, Pete, thanks.
That's it from down at halftime. We're going to come back from a commercial. We're going to get the second half of Mount Vernon and White Plains in a minute.
You know, like friends say, wow, you know, like that you work for the New York Yankees, that's great. It's like, it's no big deal, it's just a job.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Please direct your attention to the area behind the home plate and join the Yankees.
George Steinbrenner has to love this.
The Statue of Liberty is green, the George Washington Bridge is silver, you know?
My son's going to be 3 years old in October. Every time I go over a bridge with him, he says, it's Daddy's bridge.
We're the caretakers. Rust is the enemy.
It's a never-ending battle. I'm going to keep on painting.
You can't really appreciate the size of the bridge until you walk across. Clear day, you can see as far as your eyes will let you see.
People pay millions of dollars to see that view.
You're doing your thing up there. You know, you can get lost in your own little world. Just you and the wind. That's it.
All right, welcome back to the County Center. Quickly, let's look at the halftime stats with this game. There's the field goal shooting. Both teams in the 30s. White Plains only shot 1-3, Mount Vernon 4. Let's look at the leading scorers quickly. For Mount Vernon, Timmy Rolison leading the way with 11, Aaron Brown at 6, 5 for Benjamin Gordon. For White Plains, they were led by Kareem Washington and Larry Warren. They combined for 20 of their 28 points, and we are underway in quarter 3.
It's interesting to hear what Spencer Mayfield said at the end of the half with Joe. He wasn't happy with the officiating in the first half, and he said if they're going to let them bounce around, he's going to let his guys get physical. I don't know if that's good for Mount Vernon to have Larry Warren unleashed.
Loose ball. 2-on-1. Washington gives it up. Nice interior passing. And Marcus Austin gets the lay-in, but Washington made the play on the roll.
Yeah, he did make the play. That's what White Plains wants to do. They want to capitalize on those situations because you don't get many run-and-gun situations against Mount Vernon. Watch Rolison, great move. Great quickness into the lane.
Rolison had 11 at the half. He now has 13. It's back to a 4-point game. This game's been everything that's been advertised to be.
And Gordon still on the bench for Mount Vernon.
Yeah, with the 3 fouls. And, hey, we got a minute in the third quarter without a foul. Rolison and Bailey starting in the backcourt here. John Plenty starting the second half at center. Aaron Brown and Eric Miles, the forwards. There's Brown. That's a shot. Jones with it. Bayak. Washington. Two more.
Yeah, you know what? Kareem Washington is not going to miss many of those. You get that guy in the fast break and you get him in the open court, and he can be very, very damaging.
And the lead is down to 2. And Jason Bayak playing a sensational game at the point. Got the assist.
White Plains has come out with a lot more enthusiasm in the second half. They're moving a lot better.
Miles can't connect.
Warren, great position on the inside.
What a rebounder. Jones loses it.
Now watch this.
Brown, oh, he's fouled. Good foul by Jason Bayak that time. Rollison, I think, Pete, for the first time today, didn't have his head up right away, or he would have had it. They would have had a layup.
Yeah, he didn't collect himself for a second or two, and that second or two, you know, allowed Bayak to get back and get on Aaron Brown. Now it's interesting, with 2 minutes into the third quarter, and Bob Semino's decided that he's going to let Gordon come in the game with the 3 fouls.
Two-point game. We're 2 minutes in. To the third quarter. Wow. Brown the second effort, and there's a foul. Yeah.
Washington gets a hack on Gordon.
Yeah, and, you know, it's got to be frustrating a little bit for White Plains. They're holding their own on the boards, but sometimes Mount Vernon 2-3 cracks at it.
Well, you can't allow a team like Mount Vernon to have 2-3 cracks at it, and it's not like they have a huge height disadvantage.
Washington with the board. Here's Bayak. Will they catch him? No. Jason Bayak.
And Rollison had to take a step back. He can't get that third foul. It'll be very interesting to see when Mount Vernon gets into half-court defense, what they're going to do when you've got Rollison and Gordon 2 and 3 fouls respectively.
We are tied. White Plains hasn't led since early in the game. And Washington makes the play. Pete, the advantage White Plains has, the way I see it, is they have the senior experience, and that might make the difference down the stretch.
They do, but at this level, with this talent level of players, you know, it really has to be a glaring difference in experience. It's not that much. You know, Ben Gordon plays way above a sophomore.
And Rollison is a senior.
Yeah,
so,
and Rollison is the senior.
Gordon airball. Jenkins.
No, it got deflected. Gordon right back.
And a foul on Brown. Benjamin Jenkins, Greg Jenkins is back in the game for the Knights. He played the first minute, got 2 fouls, and did not play since.
Yeah, Mount Vernon cannot allow situations like that to happen where they get a couple good, easy inside putbacks and they don't cash in on them.
Washington, nice play, Jenkins. Bayak, Warren.
White Plains gets a lead for the first time since early.
Yeah, they led by 5 real early at 7-2.
Right.
And Mount Vernon is trailing 36-34. It's been an 8-2 run here in the third quarter for the Tigers. What's been the catalyst?
Well, the catalyst has been that Mount Vernon has missed a lot of inside shots, and they've allowed White Plains to get out on the break. Mount Vernon had the same problem early on in the game, Eric, if you remember. Mount Vernon was running their offense, but they weren't getting back on defense, and they've got to get back on defense.
Out of patience. We're going 53. 53 after a score. Take the work. Let's look inside. Let's run some too lows. Too low. Right? Let's go. Inbounds. I want big. Come on, baby.
Bob Semino, his voice, he's lost his voice worse than we have.
That's great, though. You got, you know, when you're in the championship game, you've got to lay it all out, and it looks like Bob, he does that on a regular basis. And it was simple what he said. He wants to go big on the inbounds, which means he wants to get his big guys in there to make sure that the ball gets inbounds, and then they've got to, you know, run their their regular offense. And what he said is they're going to go with 2 low. They're going to put 2 big guys down low and try to pound it inside a little bit. Once you establish that inside game, then it opens up your outside game. And our defense is going to go with a 53. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know their playbook, but I've got to believe that it's some kind of modification of how they press, because they love to press, and that's when they're most effective.
It's been a long year for Mount Vernon. Played tournament in Florida against nationally ranked teams. Won a couple, lost a couple.
Rollerson got away with a walk there.
Gordon, tough pass. Very tough to pass. A lot of bodies, a lot of long arms, a lot of quick hands. Brown will inbound. And look what he's got to inbound. We've got big bodies. Rollerson to pull up.
No.
Washington gives it up on the break. Markus Austin, and boy, Kareem Washington's having quite a quarter.
And they're just running by him. Mount Vernon just is not getting back on defense. It's like they're a little bit disinterested. You've got to play both ends of the floor.
Washington has come alive. Warren the steal.
Ben Gordon tried to force that in.
And now White Plains could take their biggest lead. And Jenkins pushes off his 3rd foul. And you wonder, are we seeing what we're seeing if it's been halftime adjustments?
It's a little bit of halftime adjustments. I think it's more enthusiasm. White Plains has come out much more excited, a lot more jump in their step. Mount Vernon seems to be a little bit flat-footed going from offense transition to defense. They've been a little bit slow.
You always see a Mount Vernon night ready to come in. Warren's got 12, Washington's got 13, and they've been the difference. And you know what's funny? Without possibly what they thought in the beginning of the year was their best player, Kyle Jones, he hasn't scored today. The car accident, maybe not 100%. Warren's got 13.
Mount Vernon's got to get back to what got them there. They got to try to pound the ball inside, and that's going to open the outside game. They've got to they got to use the quickness, get a lot of screens, and get those brush offs and get those open shots.
This is the biggest lead of the day for White Plains. Jones. Speaking of them, what a block. Gives it up. Washington, no. Brown with the rebound, and that quiets the White Plains contingent.
Yeah, if they would have got one there and made an 8-point lead, it would have been ugly.
What a little dribbling exhibition that was for Gordon as Washington picks up his 2nd.
Now that's 2 for Warren and 2 for Washington. The next foul on either one of them is going to create a problem for White Plains because they don't have that depth.
Yeah, but we are midway through the 3rd. Mount Vernon's done nothing here in the 3rd quarter. They've scored a grand total of 2 points. And they've hit just 1 out of 9 shots, making 1 out of 10, Pete.
And here they go, Washington again.
And a timeout for Mount Vernon.
The exclamation point.
Jason Bayak, another assist. The Knights, as you mentioned, are sending 5 to the board. Nobody's back.
Yeah, and their transition has been horrible, horrible. Bayak comes out, he just throws it deep to Washington, and there's nobody within a step. Gordon can't challenge him. Rollerson can't challenge him. They've got the speed to do it, but they can't do it because of the foul situation, and it puts them in a terrible, terrible situation. Down 8. Offense has been poor in the 2nd half, and their defense has been poor.
And in the game of great players, Kareem Washington right now is showing up as the best.
Oh, yeah, he has just come out on fire in the 2nd half, showing that he's got the ability to take over a game. He and Warren have been the only thing that's worked, although you've got to give Jason Bayak a lot of credit because he has gotten the ball up the court for them to run the fast break.
And also, Jones has been very unselfish. He's not taking bad shots. He's playing good defense.
Yeah, he made a great block on Gordon a minute ago.
Wow. I don't know what happened at halftime. But Kareem Washington has had a wonderful third quarter. 4 points, a couple of assists.
This is about a 16-point turnaround in about 7 minutes.
Right, actually a 15-point turnaround. Mount Vernon led at 28-21. Since then, it's been 21-6 Tigers. And Tim Rollerson and Ben Gordon have gone quiet.
Yeah, they've gone very quiet.
The rubber matchup here. Uh-oh. Gordon can't hang on.
And now Mount Vernon's getting sloppy.
It has not been the best of quarters for the Knights. Led by 6 after 1, 4 after 2. Jenkins with the rebound. That could have made it an 11-point game.
Yeah, that could have been trouble for Mount Vernon.
1 out of 10 shooting in the third for Mount Vernon. They've gone ice cold. Another bad pass, Gordon.
Well, he just lost the ball there. He was indecisive if he was going to pass it or if he's going to try to take it himself.
Baseline for Kyle Jones. You couldn't shut him out forever. And a real good 15-foot corner shot. And it is a double-digit White Plains lead.
This is amazing. To hold Mount Vernon to 2 points through 6 minutes plus of the third quarter is incredible.
They've gone into a shell, and they look very nervous.
Yeah, they've totally lost their focus on what they want to do on offense.
Brown, strong move.
That's a guy who can help him, too, because he's a good slasher. He gets the ball to the hoop. That's a guy who can help him.
Austin picks up the foul, his second. Austin's a sophomore. Don't forget Washington. Oh, they got Kareem Washington, Peter.
Wow.
Let's see if it was Washington or Warren. No,
Washington came by. He might have got a slap on him. It's tough because he blocks our camera view there. But Washington came by with a hand, and it may have been enough to give him a little slap.
Wow, so that's 3. And the heart and soul of White Plains is suddenly in foul trouble. Aaron Brown's got 7 points.
And now he's got to come out of the game, and that is a huge, huge part of this game right now.
Yeah, Jeff Washington's in. So they'll play a smaller lineup here. So the 10-point lead is now 8, and you imagine Washington would sit for the 1:33 left here in the third.
And you can imagine Mount Vernon's going to put the pressure exactly like they're putting on him, and they get the steal.
Oh, is it a travel? Yeah. Nice play by by Kevin Mitchell. But Billy Sacco said, nope, he traveled. Did you think so?
You know what? The rule is this. If you roll over or you slide, if you slide, it's not a travel. If you roll over, it's a travel, and he actually rolled over.
Austin travel, yeah. And that's because of the defense.
That's intimidation is what it is. You see that big 6'6" frame coming at you of Greg Jenkins, and it gets your feet to do something that your mind doesn't want it to do.
It's an 8-point game. Brown takes it himself. Offensive foul. Maybe tried to do too much right there by himself.
Yeah, he did.
That is number 3 on Aaron Brown.
He makes a good move here, and now you got to give it up. Right when you see that guy coming out, right when you see Jones coming at you, you got to give it up. Jones makes a nice play holding his ground.
3 starters for Mount Vernon have 3 fouls. Warren is fouled, and that'll be number 4 on the Mount Vernon center, Greg Jenkins.
White Plains is breaking the press way too easy for Mount Vernon's liking. They're running right by him is what they're doing. They don't even have to make a pass. They're just dribbling it and going right by him. And it's creating some uneven breaks for White Plains, 3-on-1s and 2-on-1s that Mount Vernon does not want to allow.
Only the 3rd foul shot for White Plains of the third quarter after shooting 26 in the first half. Each team just with 4 fouls, team fouls in the third quarter. Warren's got 13. He'll have 1 more. Trying to lengthen the lead to 9.
Missed it. Oh, got the shooter's roll.
9-point game, final minute, third quarter. Rollerson. Kick to Brown. And Kyle Jones knocks John Plenty out of the way. Non-shooting.
Second foul for Jones. If you get 3, if Mount Vernon can manage to get 3 fouls on either Warren or Jones in this quarter, I tell you, the fouls are going to play a tremendous part of this game in the fourth quarter.
Brown shuffled his feet. Costly turnover.
He's very indecisive on the offensive end in the second half as Aaron Brown.
Here comes more full court pressure. And the Tigers have done a great job breaking in, and now Bailey with the bump, non-shooting.
That's not, you know, you look at it, and that is not really a bad foul, because White Plains is making one pass and just dribbling the ball up court. And if they continue to do that, or if they continue to let them get by him, it creates those odd man rushes. And Jason Bailey gives him a little bump to stop that.
Jones can't find it. Warren. And he'll be fouled inside. Another non-shooting, though, the 16th foul. And Bailey has just picked up his second and third, as Mount Vernon has 5 players with 3 or more fouls. And now it looks like the players are kind of pulling on each other's shirts.
Yeah, it's getting a little tense now. You know, you're in the final 35 seconds of the third quarter. You've got a little bit more than 8.5 minutes for the Section 1 title. So you're going to see a little different attitude.
And Rollerson is fouled.
Jeff Washington.
Yeah, Washington picks up his second. Non-shooting. From now on, though, both teams will shoot. 1 and 1. Shot clock is again off. White Plains didn't take the final shot of the second quarter when they could have. Let's see if Mount Vernon does. They do trail by 9, though. Unbelievably. They led by 4 at the half. Rollerson, NBA 3. Bad shot. The little guy, Jeff Washington, the rebound, the foul. He'll shoot free throws. At least 1.
And that might be plenty again.
If it is, we'll see. 1-on-1 coming for Jeff Washington. Yeah, it's Plenty's third.
That's his third. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. We had...
Jenkins has 4. And what an effort for White Plains in the third quarter.
Wow.
Byock, Washington, Warren, Jones.
14 seconds, plenty of time to set up a good shot.
And Rollerson is fouled. He had 4 White Plains play. You know, he's comfortable with the ball with 4 players around him.
It's amazing.
Three on Jeff Washington. And Rollerson to the line. Rollerson had 3 3-pointers really before he picked up a sweat. But since then has been quiet. Has 13. A team high 13. And they need their senior.
No, that's off.
Loose ball, steal. Mitchell, and he is fouled with 2 seconds to go.
Wow. Mount Vernon has had a tremendous, they've had so many opportunities to cut into this lead, and they have just totally squandered them.
Byock second.
Now, Bob Cimino, if I'm him, I've got to put 1 more, maybe 2 more guys back. There's 2 seconds left. Do not let them get a shot off.
Kevin Mitchell's first point, the 6'2" junior. It's an 8-point game. White Plains, when they defeated Mount Vernon earlier, won by 5. When Mount Vernon defeated White Plains, they won by 7. The lead is now 7 for White Plains. 2 seconds. And that'll do it for the third quarter. So White Plains has a impressive third, and they have a 7-point lead, 1 to go.
My name is George Kalinsky. I've been the garden photographer for just a little over 30 years. People walk into this building and say, this is where Marilyn Monroe sang to the president. This is where we saw the circus when we were kids. Whatever the event is, political convention, there has to be one important moment. My job is to capture that Reverend Moon married 7,000 people here. No arena in the world has the uniqueness and the variety that Madison Square Garden has.
The Statue of Liberty is green, the George Washington Bridge is silver, you know?
My son's gonna be 3 years old in October. Every time I go over a bridge with him, he says, it's Daddy's bridge. Daddy's bridge.
We're the caretakers. Rust is the enemy.
It's a never-ending battle. And they keep on painting.
You can't really appreciate the size of the bridge until you walk across. Clear day, you can see as far as your eyes will let you see.
I think people pay millions of dollars to see our view.
You're doing your thing up there, you know, you can get lost in your own little world. Just you and the wind. That's it.
Pete, sometimes stats lie, sometimes they don't. They're not lying here. 1 for 16 now, Vernon shooting third quarter. 5.7 out of 14.
Absolutely terrible. 6 points. I think only one of them came via field goal. All the rest were free throws.
Right, 4 free throws and 1 out of 16, and that's why their lead has evaporated, and they're down 7. And Bayak and Austin convert.
There is no secondary defense for Mount Vernon, and that is what has killed them so far in this game.
6 points for the sophomore forward, Markus Austin. Brown is blocked. Austin getting it done on the defensive end.
Oh, he throws it away. It was a 3-on-none.
Yeah,
a 3-on-none. Yep. Eric, the first 2 minutes of this final period are going to really tell the tale of what's going to happen. Whoever is the first major star, either a Washington, a Warren, Rollerson, or Gordon, the first guy that gets that third or fourth, that big fourth foul, is going to be, that's really going to tell the tale of where the momentum goes. And Mount Vernon has got to get the ball in the basket in a hurry in this fourth quarter. Yep. That should have been a walk, too.
And Gordon is shoved.
And that's Washington again.
And he will go to the line. Is that Kareem? That is number 4, and that is not a smart foul. And I'm sure Spencer Mayfield is not happy because his star just was reinserted.
And that's what I just said to you, Eric. The guy who gets that fourth foul is going to really play a role in this.
Sometimes, Pete, when you're on the bench for a while, your energy level gets higher and higher. You get in and you make a quick play.
You know, the other part of that is Ben Gordon has got what I think is the quickest first step I've seen all year. And he's trying to play him out there, 18 feet from the basket.
But he misses the free throw. Bailey to steal. And it'll go to Mount Vernon on the alternate possession. And Jason Bailey's got some quick hands. I guess when you guard Rollerson in practice for a couple years, that'll happen.
Rollerson and Gordon, they make everybody else, all those other guys that come off the bench, they make them that much better.
But still, Mount Vernon is having all sorts of scoring trouble. They've scored just 6 points in the second half. As White Plains has 7:08 to go to win their first sectional title since '94. And now, should not be a shooting foul. Oh no, it's alternate possession. And the officials are getting something straight. Mount Vernon should have the inbound. And still, what could they be conferring about?
To be honest with you, Eric, I think it has something to do with the cheerleaders. The White Plains cheerleaders are so close to the basket on the baseline, and that's exactly what it is. Neil Berniker's going to go over. I think that what the problem is, when Mount Vernon's going to the foul line, the White Plains cheerleaders are there with the sparkling pom-poms, and they're shaking those pom-poms, and I think that they're saying that it's a distraction.
Maybe that's why they were 1 out of 16 in the third. But true, if you're in the crowd, anything's fair game.
Right, but the cheerleaders should not be 1 foot off the baseline where the opponent's shooting, in a crucial part of the game. It just creates too much of a distraction.
I'm surprised he didn't move them further back.
I think it's just a matter of what they do, the pom-poms.
Rollerson continues to miss. Gordon to follow. He misses. And the ice continues for Mount Vernon.
Yeah, they have been just atrocious in the second half.
But quickness steal Rollerson. And a nice play by Mount Vernon. I didn't see if that was Sharif Wilson or Bayak who got in with the quick hands there, or even Warren.
I think it was Sharif Wilson. Our cameraman got rolled over there by the Mount Vernon contingent as it came by. Young Kenny on the camera.
You see, and he's behind even the cheerleaders. So that shows you how close the cheerleaders
well, that illustrates the point of why that was a dangerous situation that Neil Berniker took care of.
Bailey block shot. Kyle Jones. What a defender.
Kyle Jones on the perimeter playing defense just absolutely eliminates any threes.
He's such a big reason why Mount Vernon's not getting anything offensively.
Yeah, watch him. He steps out here. Look at the long arm, the good reach.
Tremendous block. 6.5 to go. Mount Vernon still in the drought. They're down 9, and Sharif Wilson inadvertently knocks Gordon to the floor, and Gordon will shoot 2 free throws.
Gordon has got to bury the free throws. Otherwise, Mount Vernon, there's no sense in going to the line if you don't capitalize on it.
Yeah, let's see how Mount Vernon is done from the line in the, we know what they've done from the field in the second half. This is their 6th free throw. They're 4 for 6 actually in the second half. Gordon Pete averaging 16, only has 6. Of course, he was out a chunk of the second quarter with the 3 fouls.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a big factor for him. He played very little in the third quarter. He left with about 4.5 minutes to go. I'm sorry, in the second quarter, left with about 4.5 minutes to go. And it cut into a lot of his time. He's really never really gotten his feet under him either.
Hits them both. Here comes the pressure. Remember, Kareem Washington is on the bench. 4 fouls. Bayak might have had a layup. Jones, pull up, good! And with Washington out, he's picking up the slack. Now Vernon throws it away. Kevin Mitchell got a little over anxious
there. Yeah, just
threw
it away. There was nothing there. He was just trying to get it up to Rollerson at half court, but White Plains was back. Just a poor decision there by Kevin Mitchell, and it gives White Plains the ball and the opportunity to make this a double-digit lead.
And a timeout, 22nd for Jason Bayak. And you can't say enough about the Tigers. And let's see it again. This is Kyle Jones's bucket.
Jones has really been the guy who has stepped up. Rollerson just kind of gives him the Olay defense. And Jones has been the guy who stepped up now with the absence of Washington, with Kareem Washington on the bench with the 4 fouls. Kyle Jones has really taken his game to a second level in this second half.
You know, I guess you can only play 5 at once, and that's what White Plains says. Now, Vernon was hoping to wear down the Tigers, but it doesn't appear like that's happening.
Well, Spencer Mayfield's done a nice job of keeping his guys fresh, too. Larry Warren sat for a good portion of the third quarter, kept him fresh a little bit of the second quarter. Washington had his little brief sit-out earlier. You know, Kyle Jones was invisible early on, so he wasn't really getting the touches and the looks that you expect that he would normally get.
Full shot clock, 6:15 to go. Warren from guess who? Bayak.
They are just executing Mount Vernon to death.
A steal. And a foul, Sharif Wilson.
And that's 4 on Gordon.
Picked a pocket. White Plains, with 6 minutes to go, is very close
to getting run out of the gym. They're getting beat at their own game, Eric. They're a team that runs and guns and gets moving, and they're getting beat at their own game. Gordon loses the handle on it. Wilson takes it. Gordon picks up the 4th foul. Wilson's got to get 2.
5th point for Sharif Wilson. And it is a new high, 12-point high, as White Plains is up by a dozen. And it is crunch time for Mount Vernon,
to say the least.
Gordon's got 4 now. Rollerson blocked. Warren. And Jones wisely brings it back out. Clock is on the side of the Tigers.
Mount Vernon is just not getting any help inside, either from Greg Jenkins or when he's in the game from John Plenty.
Wilson to follow, and it'll stay White Plains. And White Plains doing everything right here in the second half.
And conversely, Mount Vernon's doing everything wrong.
It seems like White Plains is beating them on the break. They're getting second efforts.
Would have really been interesting to see these two teams at their best. I don't want to take anything away from White Plains.
And Warren is fouled on the inside. And hey, Larry Warren is just Mount Vernon has no answer for Larry Warren.
None at all.
I guess non-foul, not a foul, but out of bounds to White Plains. New shot clock. 5:20 to go. White Plains with a comfortable 12-point lead suddenly.
And the thing is, nothing's comfortable against. Nothing's comfortable against Mount Vernon.
Sure, maybe as comfortable as can be. The thing is, offensively, Mount Vernon has just gotten nothing in the second half.
Well, they've got 8 points in the entire second half. 11 minutes now.
Loose ball, and that will go to Mount Vernon. And I'm pretty sure the last alternation went to Mount Vernon. But the arrow points to Mount Vernon. You got to go by the arrow.
Yeah, actually it did.
And now the shot clock hadn't been reset. So they'll do that. 5:01 left. And it looks like there's been air taken out of Mount Vernon there. Some of the players walking around with their heads down a little.
Oh, they're not a team that's, used to being in this situation. Rollerson throws it away again.
Yeah, back with another steal. And Rollerson quick hands.
For a team that presses so much and presses so well, it's really shocking how Mount Vernon does not handle the pressure in there when they have the ball on their own side of half court, how they just don't handle the pressure well. It's really amazing for a team that presses so well.
Mount Vernon, once upon a time, led 28-21. It's scored 12 points since then. Warren, powerful scores. No stopping him. 18 for Larry Warren.
No one who has the defensive game on Mount Vernon to match that kid.
So physical, and he knows how to use his strength. It's a 14-point lead, and Rollerson will shoot a couple free throws. Rollerson with 13 points. Season it's been for White Plains. And if they can hang on here, they have their sights set on a state championship. Great pressure. They almost going to get a 10-second violation. They break it. Warren traveled there, yeah.
All right, now if Mount Vernon can get a basket and get this within 10 or less, with 4 minutes to go, you still got yourself a ball game. but Mount Vernon just has to come up with some type of answer on the offensive end. Bob Cimino, it's almost to the point now where it's substitutional, it's situational substitutions, where he brings Gordon back in the game and Jenkins back in the game. The big man in the middle, and Gordon, to try to create some offense.
Mount Vernon 0 for 2 shooting in the fourth quarter. They've only gotten 2 shots in 4 minutes. Rollerson, Jenkins. Little jump shot is no. Jenkins fighting for it, but once again, White Plains with it. Kyle Jones.
It hurts them that Jenkins does not look to the offensive side to score points.
Good ball movement.
He almost looks like he's lost out there.
And there's a 3 for Austin, and that might have been the clincher.
That might have been the death punch right there.
Yeah. It's going to take a miracle for Mount Vernon. Austin with his 9th point. Gordon firing from 3 and getting it right back. Benjamin Gordon's 2nd 3 of the basketball game. 3-on-1, they break it again. Washington back in.
Oh, great block.
Yeah, Ben Gordon has shown some unbelievable flashes today.
Yeah, he really has.
He's a sophomore.
Mount Vernon just hasn't created anything for open shots for Gordon or Rollerson. They really haven't created anything on the, they've shown a very, very weak.
And that is it. Ben Gordon, his day is over. The player they say may be one of the best in Mount Vernon history before his career is over, leaves this one with 10 points. Possibly his first of 3 sectional championships that he'll play in. But this one, unless his team rallies furiously, is going to end in defeat. And after, 6 points under his average, probably didn't play his best game. You see both teams in the bonus, and Kyle Jones to the free throw line. Jones had 25 the first time the teams played. He missed the second game that they won, and here he's hoping to be part of a winning White Plains team against Mount Vernon. Rollerson. Tough shot by Rollerson, and the lead is down to 10. They break the press though. Washington. Short, but he gets the rebound.
And Jenkins has got to play tougher. He's just been a big body out there. He's had a couple chances to grab some big rebounds.
Timeout. Peter, are you concerned that White Plains is shooting so quick into the shot clock?
I am, but you know what? It's been, that's how they built the 15-point lead.
True, but with 2:33 to go and a double-digit lead, before you know it, White Plains get Mount Vernon a couple steals. It's a 5-6 point game. And this was Gordon's.
That was the end of the day
shot,
for Ben Gordon. Good 3, and it got it down to 12. They've since gotten it, whittled it to 10, but time is rapidly becoming the enemy of Mount Vernon.
Look at White Plains. Nat Harris sitting on their bench. Good friend of Spencer Mayfield. Long-time North Shell basketball coach.
Yeah, he
was there himself many years.
Yeah, he's got it absolutely here. Mount Vernon has got to leave it in the hands of their defense and their rebounding. They're to the point now where 2.5 minutes to go, they're down 10. Not insurmountable, but just you have to do it on the defensive end. You can't go basket for basket and expect to be in this game with a minute or so to go.
Bayak with the ball. What a ball game he's played.
Oh, he's played a great game.
What a game for the sophomore. So him and Ben Gordon will be going at it for a couple of years. And
not the scorer that Gordon is. Gordon, I think, is the better scorer, but he is certainly
Maybe a pure point guard.
Yeah, I think the better playmaker.
Ten-point game, 33 on the shot clock. Washington.
Good decision. No need to force something.
Oh, Rollerson, great steal. And it was all ball somehow, so quick. Fire for three. Good! Rollerson.
This isn't over, Eric.
And now a foul on Bailey, and that's number 4 on Bailey. So Bailey's got to watch it, because with Gordon out, you really don't want to lose Jason Bailey. And Rollerson now has 20 points. You know, he played a great first quarter. Now he's playing a great fourth quarter.
Yeah, he really, you know, he's decided that he's got to take it upon himself to win this. And again, he's out at the NBA 3, and he buries it. White Plains is in the penalty now. They're in the bonus. So everything is going to be a 2-shot foul from here on in.
For both teams. Kyle Jones misses. He's got 4 points. A far cry from the 25 he had in the first meeting between the two. To 7-point lead, 2:03 to go. One out of 2.
Mount Vernon's got to get the ball up the court quick.
There doesn't seem to be another option besides Rollerson. And he is fouled.
He fouls him on 3. Wow.
Yeah, Marcus Austin wishes he could take that one back.
He's just so quick that's how you have to defend him. But the problem is Mount Vernon hasn't showed this enthusiasm until the final 2:30 in the game. Steps him off with a quick move. Doesn't get the best shot off, but he gets fouled, and he's going to get 3.
He's already have 20. He's the game's leading scorer, which is high of the sectionals. And it's a 7-point game. White Plains led by 15 3 minutes ago.
That's right. Your math is correct, Eric, once again.
And Tim Rollerson,
wow,
big-time player, making big-time plays. It's a 6-point game, but it seems like he is their lone option with Gordon out right now, and it's going to be very tough to have a one-option comeback.
But not a bad option. With 2:30, he hit 1 3. Now he's got 3 foul shots, buried 2 of them already. He can account for 6 points in about 30 seconds, and that's what they need, instant offense.
Yeah, 2 for 2, one more. This to make it a 5-point game, and he was perfect on all 3. They've chopped 10 points off the lead.
And here he goes with the steal.
What a steal. What a play by Rollerson.
He has taken over the game on his own.
Brown, he's probably their other option. Minute 40. Blocked. Washington blocks it.
Brown forced it. Brown forced it there.
Kareem Washington with 4 fouls. What a block. What a play. And now clock being run by White Plains.
No need to foul. No need to foul. Just got to play good defense.
Jones gives it up. And the layup is good. Austin converting another layup. An NBA 3 Rollerson.
Oh! It's a 4-point game. Mount Vernon's going to take the timeout. This kid has taken over the final 3 minutes of this game. Oh, that was NBA +1.
And you know what's amazing about Tim Rollerson? Shooting is not his main game.
It's not his main game, but you know what? The senior said, hey, I'm not leaving the county center without giving it my best shot, and he has given it his best shot. 9 points in the last minute and 10 seconds for Timmy Rollerson. And he's gotten the crowd back in it. It's a 4-point game in a minute. Now, you got to play good defense, and you can't foul. You can't make the stupid foul, and you can't give the cheap basket.
Pete, did you ask Barry where Rollerson fits in the...
No, I didn't. We were talking about Gordon so much, we didn't even discuss Rollerson.
You know, for Rollerson, his sophomore, junior years, they didn't win a sectional title. This is his chance. There's no next year for him.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Rollerson is he's proven tonight that he's a big-time player, a big game player. You know, at 5'10", you don't tend to get that great... you know, the notoriety that another guy at 5'10" who can take over a game like that gets. The thing for Rollerson is, the tough part for him is he's surrounded by so many great players that he gets kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit, but he is so quick, and he can play on the next level.
13 points in the fourth quarter he's got. Steal! Jeff Washington is fouled by Rollerson.
And that's a good guy to foul. Washington hasn't played much tonight.
Well, it's 2 shots, though.
But he hasn't played much.
Almost got a steal. They didn't get it, so now with 1:03, Jeff Washington will go to the line. This game's really been everything we thought it would be.
Oh, it's been a fabulous game.
Mount Vernon led by 7 early. White Plains took over in the third quarter, led by as many as 15 mid-fourth quarter, and the lead is 4 with 1:03. Washington Pete has not scored. He's a senior, 5'9", gets a lot of playing time. He's played well, but hasn't scored. He'll have one more.
The pressure can be incredible in the county center.
Good. Jeff Washington makes a crucial free throw, and the lead is back to 5. Mount Vernon had it 30 seconds ago down 5, and that's when Aaron Brown
took the ill-advised shot. Now what
which
they've
was
got,
blocked.
right? But it wasn't the best shot that they could take out of that set. Now what they've got to do, Mount Vernon, is if they don't have the absolutely clean look of the 3, they've got to pound it inside. There's got to be somebody open. Both teams take a lot of chances on defense. White Plains will take their chances now. You've got to get it to the open guy and get the free basket. Good sound advice by Bob Cimino. He tells him, listen, if you're in any trouble, call the timeout. We've got the timeouts to waste. White Plains is going to put pressure on them on the length of the court.
This is a sold-out crowd, standing room only, and not much of that. We are under 1 minute. Under a minute. Bailey, bad pass. And now Washington will be fouled, and they've made 2 mistakes. That time, Bailey, ill-advised pass.
Yeah, he threw it away. He just flat out threw it away.
And with all these people with so much on the line, a lot goes through players' heads.
Yeah, they used all but, the problem is they used all but 9 seconds on that. And that 9 seconds was not utilized well. They could have, it's only a 5-point game. So you could have gone in there and you could have used a couple seconds more and found a good shot. And Jason Bailey tried to force it. Short.
Washington has 15.
The good part for Mount Vernon now is if Washington makes this basket, it's still only a 2-possession game.
And now we'll have a parade of timeouts, which you have in close games.
As well you should. If you're playing for the championship, you got to make sure you're doing it right.
You know what's funny, though? Sure, the final minute's important because it's the final minute, but it's no more important than any other minute.
Yeah, but it's very, very difficult to get high school kids to think in those terms. They sometimes do not respond until it's a dire situation, as you saw Mount Vernon do tonight. They were down 15 about 4 minutes ago, and, it was a dire situation, and that's when they responded. The problem is to get these kids to play 24 minutes of basketball is not the easiest thing in the world. I think, 32. Honestly, well, 30, yeah, I think, I'm sorry, 32. I think, honestly, what's important is sometimes we see, and we've seen it here in the sectionals already, sometimes the girls' games, they are more focused for the duration of the game.
0 out of 2 for Washington. Knights have it. Down 5, 50 seconds. Eric Miles gets into Rollerson's hands. That's about a 40-footer. Washington to the other Washington.
Some very bad decisions.
And Jones is fouled.
Some very bad decisions by Mount Vernon. There's no need for that. You are down 2 possessions, no more than 2 possessions. So all you have to do is you have to find yourself a good shot and leave enough time where you can foul and get 2 more possessions. And there's no reason to take a 40-foot jumper. I mean, Rolison has played a fantastic game. We can't take anything away from him. That was one really poor decision that he's made today.
Maybe it was a 35-footer. I might have exaggerated, but still not a good shot. 36 seconds to go. Jones back on the line, just made 1 out of 2.
The bottom line is it was about 15 to 18 feet more than it needed to be.
Good. Kyle Jones gives his team a 6-point lead.
Now this is the important one, Eric, because this moves it from a 2-possession to a 3-possession game.
Jones makes them both. A 7-point White Plains lead. Miles picks up the loose ball, lays it in, back to 5. Clock still moving. They should have taken a timeout. Steal. Rollerson. Good.
Now you get the timeout.
And it is a 3-point game. This is the closest Mount Vernon has been since White Plains retook the lead early in this 3rd quarter.
Now, Eric, you just saw what happened in that sequence, that 15-second sequence. If you make the right decisions in the final minute, which Rolison did not do with the long, long 3-pointer, this is less than a 3-point game right now.
They just never die. We've counted them dead about 4 times.
Yeah, they have way too much talent. Way too much talent for that to happen.
Rolison had the ball kick off him, went to Miles, who wisely laid it in, and then Rolison, the quick hands, another. He must have 10 steals too.
Yeah. Now what happens is, what they have to do is, they've got to allow White Plains, or, contest obviously the inbounds. If White Plains get inbounds, foul immediately. You don't want more than 2 or 3 seconds to get off this clock. And then you've got to hope that he only makes 1 of 2 or none of 2, and then you've got a shot. If he makes none, you've got 1 shot at making a 3 and tying the game and sending it to overtime.
Well, don't forget, Mount Vernon's certainly capable of stealing the ball here.
Well, I said you got to play tough on the inbound. If you don't get it to steal, then you've got to immediately foul.
Rollerson, Jenkins, Mitchell is in there. Miles is in there, and Brown for Mount Vernon defensively.
Now you've got to watch for the long pass from White Plains.
Washington. Will he go long? Austin to inbound. Good job by White Plains, and finally a foul.
Right.
3 seconds. Good play by White Plains. They killed 3 seconds, and they got free throws. But also going to be Kyle Jones.
Yeah, also a good play by Mount Vernon. They only eat up 3 seconds. You want to ideally be in that 2 to 3 second range.
Kyle Jones just made 2 free throws moments ago. He's someone you want shooting if you're White Plains.
He's proven in the crunch that he's been their best free throw shooter.
But he doesn't make it. So with 13 seconds to go, this one will give them a comfort level. If he misses this, watch a frantic run down the court. Look for Rolison to take a bomb, right?
Yeah, well, if he misses it, Mount Vernon's got to call a timeout.
He doesn't. Jones, a crucial shot. 4-point game, 10 seconds. Rolison, 3, good! It's a 1-point game. Do they have a timeout left? That's it.
That's it.
I don't know if they had a timeout left, but White Plains has won the sectional.
What a game. What a great game. You couldn't ask for anything more there, Eric. And Timmy Rolison did everything in his power on his shoulders. 31 points, but on his shoulders, Eric, he gave Mount Vernon a chance to be in that game.
And Pete, you had the idea if the game played another 30 seconds, you might have a different champion.
My opinion is if the game played another 10 seconds, Mount Vernon's going to win the game. I mean, they were just on that kind of roll, and Rolison just was incredible in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
What a job for White Plains. Kyle Jones free throws. just enough to give them the title. We'll come back. We'll talk to our MVP. We'll wrap it up. The A championship goes to White Plains.
The Statue of Liberty is green, the George Washington Bridge is silver, you know?
My son's going to be 3 years old in October. Every time I go over a bridge with him, he says his daddy's bridge.
We're the caretakers. Rust is the enemy.
It's a never-ending battle. And they keep on painting.
You can't really appreciate the size of the bridge until you walk across. Clear day, you can see as far as your eyes will let you see.
People pay millions of dollars to see that view.
You're doing your thing up there, you know, you can get lost in your own little world. Just you and the wind. That's it.
Hi again, everybody. Joe Lombardi here with our star of the game from White Plains High School, Larry Warren, first sectional title since 1994. He's the MVP all-tournament team. John Davis from Arlington, Riley Quinn from Mayapack, from Mount Vernon, Aaron Brown and Timmy Rollerson, and from White Plains, Kareem Washington, and our MVP, Larry Warren. Third quarter, Larry, you guys took control of the game. What was the key in that quarter for you guys?
We turned it up. We turned up our defense. We decided to go down low to me because we thought that they didn't have an answer for me down low. We were just pounding it down low.
Now, they came back at you. You guys up by 15, fourth quarter. They make a wild comeback. How were you able to hold on, and how nervous did it get for you guys?
We was kind of nervous. In practice, we went through a lot of situation drills, like up 5, and the team got the ball 59 seconds, something like that, to go. So we prepared for this. We prepared for this.
And you showed a lot of poise. I think the difference, you guys with more of a power game, getting the high percentage shots. Free throws didn't fall in the first half, but then in the second half, you were able to make those shots and make your free throws.
Yeah, Coach calmed me down. He said my technique was right. Don't let it get you down and have confidence in my shot, and that's what I did.
All right, last question. Last year, you guys won 1994 White Plains. You were in the 8th grade. You told me you remember that, and you went up to Glens Falls to watch the team play in the state Final Four.
Yeah, this is a great feeling, getting the MVP, just like Jermaine Young did. A lot of people were comparing me to him my senior year, and I just wanted to prove myself to him, to everybody in White Plains, everybody.
That's terrific. Great way for you to end your career at White Plains High School. Tremendous game. People are going to talk about this for a long time. Great game, 64-63. Thank you very much, Larry. Congratulations. And back to Eric and Pete.
Thanks, Joe. Well, at least Larry has at least one more game left as they pursue the state championship. Let's look at the final numbers for today's Class A championship ball game. Not a lot of great shooting on the Mount Vernon side, just 28%. They did hit 8 3-pointers, however. Let's look at the leading scorers. For Mount Vernon, Timmy Rollerson, what a game. 31 points, enough said. Benjamin Gordon, 10. Aaron Brown, 7. For White Plains, they were led by Warren's 18. Also 15 for Kareem Washington. Heck of an effort. Marcus Austin, the sophomore, had 11. So that's it from the Westchester County Center. For Peter Arciello, Joe Lombardi, our director today, Ralph Caberdo, everybody else in Metro Sports. This is Eric Lubitz. You've watched the great one. White Plains defeats Mount Vernon by a point to win the Class A Boys Championship. See you next time.
for a little extra cash. The guy's name's Rahad Jackson. He's got more money than God. He's got twice as much coke, crank, and smack, all right? This guy's gonna buy just about anything anybody wants to sell him. Just likes people hanging around at his house, partying, the whole thing.
Well, how do you know him?
He used to come to Party Boys Live. Mutrix introduced me.
Well, how will we do it exactly? I mean, how will it all go down?
It's gonna go down like this. I'm gonna call him on the phone, okay? I'm gonna tell him I got a half a key of quality stuff.
Do you have his phone number?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna call him on the phone. I'm gonna give him a price.
How much?
Well, it's half a key, man. It's like $5,000. I'm gonna split that up 3 ways.
I'll have to get the vet fixed.
That's right, man. So we're gonna do the deal. We're gonna drop half a key of baking soda into a bag. We're gonna walk over there. We are gonna, boom, right there. This could be a nifty little bit of hustle bustle.
Wait, do you have his address?
Fucking Reed, yeah, I got his fucking address.
What? Yeah, okay, question. Sorry. Hold on. What if he tests this stuff out?
He won't.
Well, how do you know that?
Because I know he won't. I'm positive.
You guys should be careful.
Scotty.
What?
What do you mean, what? Do me a favor, just mind your business, please. What the fuck? Sorry. Anyway.
Dump it in there good. Dump it in clean.
Hey, you can't lay this all on me, man. We're gonna go in there. This is it. It's gonna be fine. You guys ready for this?
I am.
Dirk?
Me?